I truly believe it's all about a vibe. I tell families it's much like looking for a college university, and you go on to campus.
Going back to college.
Right,
I love
going
it.
back to college.
I love it. This is Just Call Claudia, a podcast for right-sizing your life and demystifying your relocation. I have a question for the two of you, but I'm going to start with Caroline. Even though you're the baby in the family, what was it about the senior world that you felt so comfortable in, either the palliative care, because not everybody, and I certainly know that talking to my friends, they don't have that gene. What is it for you?
So I think in many ways I was like an only child, and my parents' friends were my friends also.
Yes.
So I would literally start my Saturday night out having dinner with the crew.
Love it.
I love
Got
it. Yes,
it.
yes.
Oh, so you always had a home with them. They included you, and you were the cool girl.
Oh
I mean,
my
I can't even
gosh.
take it.
They had words of wisdom, and I was telling
and you
them.
listened.
I listened, but oh my goodness, they listened to me. I redirect if needed. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's just really where it all started from. Honestly, is at a very young age, having my siblings were grown and in college by the time I was on the move, and again, much like an only child, so would hang out with mom and dad and their friends, and then they all ended up in communities of some sort or at home with help, and
you kept up with them.
And I kept up with all of them. Yeah.
I
So
love
to
this.
see,
Love it.
them transition and make that smooth. It's all about making life smooth for me at this point for them.
Right.
So,
That's very sweet. So it's integrated in you. It's just part of your
just
DNA.
part of me, they need to be comfortable and happy.
right.
Yes.
And they had you as a best friend.
Oh, I had them.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So when what are some challenging situations that you found so far working with Senior Transitions Concierge?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna
We can't talk about Jan. Kidding.
Not now.
I'm gonna bring up an
Next
instance that was very challenging that involved you and your company. Do you remember this? That
Well, you have to.
we had a physician moving into a community I was working with, and
yes.
family all out of town, kids all out of town. He stole my heart from the get-go. It was
The one with the piano,
yes, the one with the
baby grand piano. Yes, stole all of our hearts.
Yes. And literally at the 9th hour, the day of,
The
you
day of
and
the
your
move.
staff
Day of the
went to
move.
go help him and move him right along, and he couldn't get out of bed.
He was in bed.
He was in
I had that
bed.
phone call from one of my people. She said, well, we're making scrambled eggs. He
Yes.
didn't eat dinner.
Yes.
And I said, you have to keep him flat because I don't want to, we don't want to cause a situation. And then there was some healthcare called,
Yeah.
and we just changed our hats.
Yeah. Did a
And
pivot there for a
you
minute.
just have to pivot a little
Just
bit.
pivot a little
It
bit.
just happened. But that's the nature of the business,
Right.
because as much as in quotes, we're in charge, really our client, our senior really is in charge. So meeting their needs, meeting their deadline as easily as we can to keep them on track, but keep them whole and respected. That's really the goal when you work, I think, when you work in the senior realm, sphere, whatever we want to call it. Listening like you did from a very young age and understanding really what they need. And if we don't move you today, we'll move you tomorrow.
Yeah.
This isn't really about us.
Right. No.
Right?
Not at all.
And I think that is the spirit. And that's why previously when we were talking off screen, that's why I don't care who's listening, the AI world, very hard to put any, this personalized touch in an AI format and take away our jobs, right?
Yep.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is very really gets under my skin if somebody is misplaced, if somebody is gone with somebody and they're not in the best place for them.
Ooh,
So
that would be
therefore,
hard.
It's very hard to
Very.
stomach that.
Once in a while, we receive a phone call that we have to make a move from a community to another one. And that's usually for us when the needs have changed dramatically.
Yes.
And the current place of residence, the specific community then can't meet the partner's needs.
Yes.
And that's when I really see so many seniors give up a community because they're meeting the needs of their spouse. And that is, we do that 4 or 5 times a year, but it's so heartwarming because they're putting their spouse first.
Right.
But that has to be really hard on you. And then how do you handle that with the family, or just you're off to the rescue?
So I think I saw more of that working in communities, and would like to say that we acknowledge what's a right fit from the get-go.
Right.
And this go around. So hopefully I'm not going to see those scenarios.
Right. You're going to prevent
again.
that.
I'm going to prevent that from happening.
What happens if a family feels very strongly about a community for whatever reason, bells and whistles or whatever, but you know that there's one that's better personality-wise, or how do you handle that? Because
So I think it's, I truly believe it's all about a vibe. I tell families it's much like looking for a college university. And you go on to campus.
going back to college,
Going
I love it.
back to college.
I love
You
it.
go
Are
on
there
to campus.
and there are sororities and fraternities in senior communities. We know that.
We do.
Yes.
There's activities that, I love it. Okay.
And how many times did we take our kids and, oh my gosh, there were a few we pulled into, and my daughter would say, I'm not going here. Let's not even pull in.
Right. Exactly.
What? But I think for seniors, it's very similar. They need to go on campus. They need to smell the air and feel the vibe. And many times they'll answer their own question.
Right.
They'll
Right.
answer them.
And generally speaking, family members do respect that, I hope.
Oh, generally.
Good.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Good.
There are those outliers, right, Dan?
Right. There was one situation where a family really liked one particular community, and I had my questions about it. But in the end, it's not my decision. And my questions, I would share my concerns. And as long as we can do that, and we do,
Right.
then
Right.
it's up to the family to make their decision. And they love the place.
Right.
So it's perfect
Good.
for them at this
Because
point.
we're not here to be right.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
We are here to assist, educate, right? Knowledge is power. And had you always been inclined to be good with seniors as a younger person? Or?
Not necessarily. I was living my life and raising children and all of that. But I went through a program through our church, and it was helping you to learn how to listen and not tell people what to do. It's called Stephen Ministries. And you don't tell people what to do when they share their issues with you. You just ask them reflective questions. You just let them keep talking. And 9 times out of 10, people figure things out on their own. They just need someone to bounce their ideas off of. So
I love that. What's
it
that
was
called? What kind of
called
ministry?
Stephen Ministry.
Oh, beautiful.
And there are many churches that offer it. Not everyone does, but it's a really nice ministry to help people through those hard times. And in fact, my brochure kind of reflects their teachings. We walk with you through the process, and we hold your hand.
Okay. I kind of love that. I mean, because I do feel that,
Yeah.
If someone's listening or watching today, what could they anticipate making that phone call to? Do you give them a complimentary 10 minutes to explain your services? Do you give them an hour? What kind of information should they have before they call you?
Basically, when somebody is thinking about making a move or having their parents make a move, the sooner they reach out to us or to anyone that they had experience with, the better. Because the more time you have, the better the results are going to be.
I see.
And so reaching out to us means giving us a call. You can go on our website and put through a request, and then we'll talk with you. We don't just send you a letter of engagement. We talk about what we do and how we do it. And if there are more people involved that need to help make the decision, we come meet with you. We Zoom with you, whatever works for the family. And each family is so different.
Right.
So absolutely, we want to start the conversation as early as possible to be sure no one's caught off guard in a crisis.
In your words, Jan, why don't you share when we first started working together? How about it from your...
Okay. Well, about 3.5 years ago, I had a client who was very successful in her life, and she knew that she needed to make a move from one community to another due to a diagnosis. So she had beautiful artifacts, antiques, things from other countries, just the best. And I thought, well, who better than Claudia to help her figure out what to do with these things and help her move. Plus, I so recall you just came in and looked at her draperies and like, oh, we can take those and we can modify them and we can get this to go with that. I'm like, oh, this woman is really the best. So ever since that day, I'm like, this is really the woman I need to know and to call upon when my people have big moves. That was a very interesting move. She is still lovely. I know she's still with us and has moved to another different level of care. But she had an encyclopedic, what we loved about working with her and was that she had such collections, and she traveled extensively on her own and was also part of like the International Chamber of Commerce or Women's Business Leaders. National Association Women Business Owners. NAWBO. She helped found that, which was phenomenal.
No, and we were always going to do a meeting together. Did you go to a meeting with her? I always wanted to do that.
Yes.
She's lovely. And the way we incorporated, we moved her into a very large unit. And when she said the bookcases were a non-negotiable, we ended up putting 2 bookcases in a bathtub because she was overflowing. And I really wanted to make sure she didn't lose her books. And I said, you've got 2 bathrooms. So how about this idea? Great idea. And that is I was, paralyzed at the thought, but we just couldn't take anything else away from her. We wanted her to be as whole as possible, making that move. Yeah. So that was a great collaboration. I remember there were a lot of emails, and that's part of it, collaborating, knowing who you can trust, who you can rely on. I think that's what makes all of our jobs so much more fun, because we have more interpersonal with our clients and with each other to make sure we're, on target for our client. Yeah.
We know what we do best, and that's finding the right service providers.
Right.
You know your service, we don't. And you do it.
And you offer other service. What other service referrals do you offer?
We do a lot of in-home care.
Oh, you do?
Someone who needs to stay at home, but they need med management, or they need someone to help with showers, that type
Good to
of
know.
thing. If they need a driver to take them, instead of calling Uber, if they need a Medicar type service, we've got those providers. Daily money managers, so people are getting to the point where they either pay their bills twice in a month or they forget. There are wonderful service providers out there that help keep their daily money management in order.
Yes.
Basically.
And do you help assess the needs of the individual, or does the family say, you know what I'm saying? How does that come about?
Usually we share that we have these service providers that we work with. Sometimes the senior will say, that would be a great relief. Other times the kids are like, oh, what's their phone number? So it's just feeling your way through the family scenario, what their needs are, the main need we know, because that's what they tell us first thing.
Right.
But as we get to know that client, we know, okay, they might need this also.
That's fantastic. I did not realize that was part of your, under your umbrella.
And wealth managers.
Yeah.
And wealth managers, and I'm sure attorneys.
And attorneys.
Oh,
yeah,
well, we can
that's
just
attorneys.
we can keep going on this.
I
list.
know. There's many good
I even have a
ones.
car salesman.
To wrap up our lovely time together, I get to ask you my ritual question. I'll start with Caroline first, and this is has nothing to do with your business, but if we were helping you or you and your husband make a move, a right-sized move, and we'll call that a smaller move, what is your non-negotiable in your household, possession, collection, piece of furniture that's going with you everywhere and you're going to take with you to your next move? What is that item or collection?
So I've thought a lot about this question.
Good. Did I give you homework? I can't remember.
One of my sisters lives in California and has unfortunately had those calls where you need to evacuate. There's a forest fire. Leave now.
Oh, yes.
So my question to them has always been, what did you put in the car?
Right.
How did you
Right.
do that?
Oh, yes.
Basically my brother-in-law was like underwear and t-shirts.
Practical.
Practical.
Uh-huh.
I don't really know. I would say family, probably jewelry.
Jewelry. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Nothing big. Jewelry and pets.
jewelry and pets. Okay. Good to know your pets are coming with you.
They're coming.
But not necessarily can they, because a lot of senior communities do not allow pets.
I know.
More
So,
and
might
more.
be
Thank
Use
God
one
you're a
that does.
specialist because you've already vetted where you're
I'll
moving.
figure it out.
We
yeah.
know. All right, Jan, how about you?
Well, if it was an emergency like a fire, I just grab my dog and
But it's not.
okay.
Caroline
Yeah.
took us to a
I
different,
took
yeah.
it to a
different dimension
level.
there.
Yeah.
I would say my mother had this hope chest that I have, and it would be very functional because you can always put things in it,
Right.
and keep hoping.
Right.
So I think I would take the hope chest.
I love that. So what you're saying is you're going to be filling that hope chest to make sure that it's chock full of what you're going to take with you.
Right.
If you're going to when you make that move, because we're already onto the game. We already know what we're doing at some point in a more near future than not. Right.
Right.
Thank you so much for today. What fun. I'm so glad we had an opportunity to
you.
sit down and chit chat.
Amazing.
It has
Thank
been very
you.
fun.
Thank
Appreciate it.
Thank you. You can reach Jan or Caroline at seniortransitionsconcierge.com. Thanks for listening. You can follow me on Instagram at CMFTO or check out our website, cmfto.com, to learn more about my business.